It's always a pleasure coming your way. It's a Saturday morning. Ghanaians are waiting to hear what the topical issues for the show are based on the happenings over the week. So as you do know, we're still trying to unravel the mystery behind the allegations that have been made by a sitting member of parliament, Ascent South, that's Reverend John Intim-Fojo, who is also a ranking member of the Interior and Defense Committee, Select Committee of Parliament, to the fact that two aircrafts have landed in Ghana. He wants to know what their mission is, but then he goes ahead to say that he's linking the mission of the aircraft to Ghana to an alleged drug trafficking and money laundering. On Wednesday this week, the NIB made an attempt to arrest him upon botched several attempts to get him to assist in investigations. He had to take the minority leader, Alexander Fenyomaking, to halt the arrest and to put it on hold. We don't know where that leaves everything in the scheme of things. Is government going to allow this to rest or allow matters to rest because it still believes it's a hoax? Or government will still go ahead and invite him to assist in investigations? We'll ask that on the show this morning. And also, sadly, very unfortunately, Bawku is up in flames again. We do know that there've been a protracted chieftaincy and land conflict in that part of town. That is the root cause. But the remote cause, or the immediate cause, had to do with some misunderstanding between some individuals and the police who've been stationed there to protect or to maintain law and order. This has left a policeman badly injured. The house or the residence of the majority leader, Mahama Yariga, who is also the MP for Bawku Central, has been torched. The MP for Pusiga, Mama Ladi Ayi, her house has also been torched. We'll try and speak to them this morning to get to the bottom of this. But the more important question is, what else do we need to do to bring this protracted Bawku conflict to an end, especially for a very deprived community or town such as the Bawku municipality? So all these and more coming your way. Please stay with us. When I return, I'll share the WhatsApp line so that you can express your thoughts and your views, and also I'll be introducing my resource persons. Please stay with us.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe. Yum.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, Sankofa,
Yenchi, Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy Smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Oh, mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como Collection?
dressing up is just a breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson, Asamo.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Femi Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Femi once now. Hey, that's a new. Improve car. Yeah. Captain was key to double the action. Me didn't sasso spray. Mr. Femi sasso quell. Yeah, come my Sasso, come and tum preco.
The complementary roles of individuals, organizations, and the government in national security is of critical importance. I urge our citizens in discharging this complementary duty of helping to safeguard our security not to behave like the shepherd boy in the famous fable who cried, "Wolf, wolf," when there was no wolf. If we behave like that boy, either for partisan or parochial interest, we distract the attention of our security services from focusing on their critical job of keeping us safe. Let us support our security services and the Ghana Armed Forces with information that is useful and intelligence that is helpful, that will advance their work rather than retrogress it. Let me reiterate that we will take all allegations of crime seriously and trigger our security service investigative machinery to go after criminals no matter who they are. But let me state emphatically also that we do not have the resources and time to engage in any game of smoke and mirrors. The Ghana Armed Forces is engaged in several theaters to maintain peace and security in our nation. One major flashpoint continues to be the Bawku area. Only 2 days ago, an incident in a marketplace triggered an unfortunate loss of lives and criminal vandalism of property. I wish to emphasize that nobody gains from this situation of conflict and insecurity. We have triggered the Otumfor mediation process, which saw all stakeholders participate in discussions in Kumasi on a roadmap towards peace. I'm assured by the Asantehene that the process will resume next week when he returns from his brief visit abroad. Congratulations to our armed forces for the sacrifices you have made, even at the peril of your lives, to protect life and property in the Bawku conflict area. We need the cooperation of all to restore peace in Bawku and its environs. And I entreat all sides to embrace peace as we dialogue to resolve this age-old dispute.
The minority in Parliament is deeply concerned about the worsening security situation in Bawku, where persistent violence continues to endanger lives and displace residents.
over the past few months, the intensity and frequency of attacks, including sporadic shootings, arson, and home invasions, have escalated, with reports suggesting a high death toll, with many people said to be missing than those reported dead. The growing sophistication of weaponry used in these attacks is particularly alarming, raising questions about the sources of arms and the effectiveness of measures to curb their proliferation. Recent developments, including targeted bus attacks and the setting ablaze of the residence of the Honorable Mahama Ayariga, the majority leader, reflect the increasing volatility of the situation and the level of frustration among sections of the youth. The failure to de-escalate tensions leads to a cycle of reprisals, which, if unchecked, will further entrench insecurity in the area. As a strategic border town, Bawku's instability poses a wider national and regional security risk. The expansion of attacks to other regions, including the Northeast and Ahafo region, have further underscores the urgent need for a more coordinated response. Beyond the immediate security concerns, the instability has devastated the affected communities. Schools have been forced to shut down, depriving children of their right to education, while key institutions and businesses are fleeing the area due to safety concerns. Critical sectors such as education and healthcare are severely impacted, with teachers, nurses, and other professionals refusing postings to Bawku for fear of their safety. The continued insecurity is gradually crippling essential services, worsening the plight of residents, and deepening the humanitarian crisis. It is evident that the current approach to addressing the conflict has not been sufficient to restore calm. The government must demonstrate greater urgency and decisiveness. The deteriorating situation in Bawku is a national concern, and the government must take immediate action to prevent further escalation.
All of you were living witness to how our colleagues in the minority exploited this Bawku conflict. We are showing responsibility. We won't come and speak the way they spoke. But one of the key statements they made was that anytime they are in power, there is peace in Bawku. And that it is when the NPP is in power that the conflict escalates and it gets out of hand. In this case, they are in power. They must show responsibility. They must show responsibility. They are scratching the surface. Yes, the eminent chiefs are showing leadership, but the bus stops with the government. The bus stops with the government. And we expect them to show more maturity and leadership. After all, they have said that anytime they are in power, there is peace at Bawku. Why is it the case that now they are in power, they've been in power for more than 3 months? And the conflict is getting out of hands. Lives are being lost, properties are being destroyed. The NDC government must show responsibility. So disappointed. But we will stay tuned. This matter, we are going to sustain our interest until there's lasting peace at Bawku. You won't get the minority to make those irresponsible statements to say that anytime one government is in power, the conflict rather escalates. We won't make those responsible statements. Irresponsible statements. We won't speak like that. But we will take them on. And as a responsible minority, we will do our oversight by making sure that they take up to what they are supposed to do and bring lasting peace to Bawku. Our interest is peace and security, protection of property and lives. That is what is key to us. And the NDC will not run away from it. We will hold them to their promises and we will make sure they deliver on those promises.
So reckless. These are destructive tendencies. And such people shouldn't have been allowed to sleep in their homes when they make such reckless statements. Should have been picked up long since. He didn't have waited for the honorable minister to even ask that this gentleman should be arrested. Look, that's their campaign strategy. They are yet to see more. We are even warming up. We haven't started anything yet. I'm telling you, Ghanaians should brace themselves. I'm saying that we are warming up. To clean up the state, we have to, if you have to reset a country, characters like that, you have to page them. They are the people that they are the reason why we are where we are. Not authoritarian. You have enough information that borders on national security. This one borders on national security. The integrity of the state. Our government is less than 3 months. If we are not getting to 100 days, today is 92 days, right? 93. And somebody is already saying that cocaine, the person just meant to destroy the image of the country. That is their modus operandi. They are not satisfied that Ghanaians have given them this in 38.2%. They are not happy. So they want to destroy the country. Look, they want to run away from. Have you seen the recent expose of Japa? Comrade Japa. These are the characters we are dealing with. They have these containers and everything. They are in their bedrooms. The term of containers and other thing. MPP leadership. I'm saying this because you know them. We don't know the people governing the country. Wasn't the MPP who governed the country for 8 years under their regime? Excavators were flying. Now containers are flew. We are seeing a lot of containers to carrying money and this thing, gold. Some have put it in their bedroom. Some have put it in fridges. Japa is running after them. And you say we are arresting people. I don't know criminals. There's a difference between saying that you have intelligence and you have information. If you say you have intelligence, you know what you are talking about. Go and read about intelligence. These people, that's why I say they are just reckless people.
This morning, we heard of this intimidation and harassment from the NIB. We least expected such a step to be taken by government by using agents of the state. Our candidate authorized member, Mr. Intim Fojo, a reverend minister and a politician. If government disagree with views expressed, government can also tell a side of the story. This is democracy. It's not about we are inviting you, you come with armed men. You know, about 20 of them. We don't need it. If you disagree, you disagree. In any event, the caucus is calling for a bipartisan inquiry into this matter. We should be able to judge all. But, well, they have de-escalated, they've left, they've gone back to wherever they came from. We want to assure the government that we will cooperate if they approach things in a decent manner. Absolutely. But we will not be intimidated.
We are a country governed by a rule of law, not the rule of men. And as a member of parliament, at least our constitution, parliament standing orders, talks about the processes or the procedure by which a member of parliament can be invited. The first question we want to ask the current administration is, was that process followed?
No way. No.
Was that process followed?
No.
Why? In fact, the chaos this morning was needless, unwarranted, very unwarranted. At least, if indeed they were showing good faith, they would have gone through the process, the due process, written to the speaker that the member of parliament is to be invited or wants to be invited to the state security for interview or for questioning or for discussion or to help in the investigation, but not this Rambo style. Well, at the end of the day, is what we are doing today, that the due process has to be followed. The due process has to be followed. Has he committed any crime?
No.
But this time we're expecting even the government to commend him. We're expecting the government to commend him.
And there's clarity. Nobody will be intimidated. Okay? The minority has a right to raise issues and exercise oversight. And if we elect anybody to speak on any matter, that person speaks on behalf of the caucus. Now, even if the person is a whistleblower, and look at the Whistleblowers Act, Act 720, even if the person is a whistleblower, you are barred by law from intimidating that person. What is all of this about? Over 20 gun-wielding NIB officials here because the minority has expressed a position on a matter and has asked for public. When the MV Benjamin matter took place, a whole public inquiry, Georgina Wood was in the chair, a whole public inquiry was held to try and understand it. What is that the government is afraid of, for which reason when the man speaks, then you send about 20 NIB gun-wielding, I'm sure you saw them, gun-wielding AK-47 cocked all over the place, wearing masks and hoodies. Constitutionally, you cannot just pick up a member of parliament like that. And more so when the caucus, the entire minority caucus, is holding a press conference on a matter and I am elected to address it or he's elected to address it. And you send about 20 gun-wielding, AK-47 wielding NIB officers to his house. For what? Because he raised questions about something and asked that the government should investigate something. And I'm telling you the precedent. MV Benjamin, public inquiries were held.
The attempted arrest of the Asin-Saf Member of Parliament and the ranking member of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, Reverend John Intim Fojo, at his residence yesterday by some NIB operatives where they stormed his residence in order to effect arrest on him regarding the allegations he made. I'm here on the streets of Accra to engage the general public on what they make of the attempted arrest by the NIB and also whether they think the immunity of the sitting member of parliament was taken away from him.
I think that no one is immune when it comes to matters of the law and what has to be done right, when it comes to matters of equity and then fairness and then justice. However, if probably has been invited over and he did not honor, then they may also want to go and then maybe launch an arrest or something. But if something of that sort has not been done, then I think that probably is a breach of probably a person's privacy or something.
They have their own code of conduct and they are supposed to go according to the code of conduct. It's part of protocol. If you don't do that, you violate your own protocol. That will be up to the law.
All right. Thank you very much.
You see, so like I said, the invasion or the kind of siege that they effected on his premises depended on the circumstances. If basically he was invited to come and he didn't come, that's a different issue.
Personally, I think that they should have followed the appropriate procedure. Since he's a sitting member of parliament, the law provides certain rules and regulations as to how to arrest a member of parliament. So they should have sought for a court warrant and then also the speaker granting them to go ahead to do that. The fact that they went there without those evidence, I think that's what makes it inappropriate. However, with such an allegation against the government or without any evidence, it's also something that is not accepted in the society.
You just heard some Ghanaians on the streets of Accra share their opinion on the development. Some of them have the strong view that the habit or the culture where politicians make allegations without providing evidence should be stopped, whilst others are of the strong opinion that the manner in which the NIB operatives stormed the sitting member of parliament's residence is one that is not too good. Reporting for Metro Television, my name is Eko Sechisaki, Oxford Street, Accra.
All right, so welcome back. This is Inside Pages on Metro Television. As I did indicate from the very beginning of the show, one person has been killed in the town of Bawku in the Upper East region, while the private residence of the Bawku Divisional Police Commander, ACP Adamu, ACP Adamu Seidu, has been set on fire during that renewed clashes on Wednesday afternoon. At least 2 other individuals are reported to be critically injured. Now, we understand that this incident occurred when one of the factions involved in the prolonged chieftaincy crisis demanded that women from the opposing faction who were trading in their market to leave. I mean, can you imagine? And a scuffle then broke out, prompting the police to intervene in an attempt to restore calm. However, some young people allegedly opened fire on the police, leading to a return of gunfire from the officers. Now, this exchange sort of resulted in the death of one civilian and the injury of two others, which seemingly provoked radical youth to retaliate. They then proceeded to the police commander's private residence, where they set it ablaze. Now, it is currently unclear whether there were any occupants in the house at the time of the attack, but further reports from reporters on the ground indicate that the police barracks was also attacked and the police vehicle was set on fire. And as a result, the police service has been forced to evacuate personnel from the barracks. Tensions, we're told, still remain high as security agencies work to restore order. Now, neither the police nor the Regional Security Council have commented on the incident. We've also heard the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, commenting on this matter, saying it is unfortunate, and also saying that the Otunfuo Peace Committee has been asked to go back to work and try and find a lasting solution to the prolonged Bawku chieftaincy crisis. Now, the majority leader, who is also the MP for the area, that's I'm talking about Bawku Central, Member of Parliament Mahama Yariga, has also had cause to issue a statement in relation to this matter, where he says he remains committed to a lasting resolution in his backyard, which is his constituency. I'll read a portion of that statement, and then we would kickstart our conversation for the day. Now, this is what he says, that whilst attending an official assignment out of the country, I have learnt about total or fatal violent encounters between the police and the youth in Bawku, and the subsequent vandalization and attempt to burn my private residence in Bawku in anger. I understand that the anger and frustration of the youth about the pace of the resolution of the situation in Bawku and the kusau in the misconduct of some misguided law enforcement officers. The National Democratic Congress government remains committed to its promise to ensure justice and lasting peace. My condolences to the bereaved and sympathies to the injured. In this regard, I will urge all of us to remain committed to the peace process being led by His Majesty the Asantehene Otufuo II, the Overlord of Kusau, Zuguran Naba Asigiri Abugragu Azoka II, and the Overlord of Mankurubu Nairi Na Bohagu Mahami Sheriga have committed themselves to the process and are fully participating. I want to assure the people of Bawku and Kusau that I represent that I remain resolute and committed to the lasting resolution of the matter according to the well-established laws and judicial decisions of Ghana, which must ultimately be respected and enforced. Kindly disregard the lies being told about me by political detractors and people seeking shamelessly to take advantage of the current unfortunate situation in Bawku and Kusau to settle personal electoral political scores. The smear campaign on social media will not distract me. In the end, we will be vindicated. That's signed, Mahama Yariga, Bawku Central NP. Now, we also do know that the Inspector General of Police has been there on a fact-finding mission. And what we intend to do now is that we'll bring you the IGP story from his visit. And yes, if it's ready, now watch this.
To Bawku on Friday, April 11, the IGP met with the Bawku Naba and other stakeholders where he offered an open apology for any wrongdoing by the police in their efforts to maintain law and order. Addressing the youth and the general public directly, the IGP acknowledged the messages displayed on placards and assured them that the police were taking their concerns seriously. He pleaded for calm and cooperation.
We are here, police, military, and other security services here, to provide security to Bawku. Some of us, we have been here in the years past. We know Bawku. Bawku is an area where every security officer would like to come and work here before finally he goes on retirement. Today, some of us who saw that, we are not happy with what it is today. It is our prayer the Almighty God will bring the same glory of Bawku back. I've come here to come and work together with you and also to ensure that our men that we bring here, they work according to the mandate. I've seen a lot of things that have been written on the placards, and we are going to work towards it.
So that's the IGP, Christian Tete Yohono, interacting with the Bawku residents. And we just hope that things would calm down. Things will calm down soon. We'll also be speaking to a man who lives there, understands exactly what's been happening there, and can bring us some, insights and some important perspectives on what's happening in Bawku, to be able to place the conversation we intend to have in its proper context. Also, I need to also remind you that Bawku is just one of the topics that we intend to look at. The second topic we intend to look at is the botched attempt to arrest the MP for Assin South, Reverend Jonathan Fojo, based on some comments that he made, recent comments he made about some aircrafts which have landed, and his, suspicion that those aircrafts may be carrying some contraband goods, and the intervention by the minority leader, which halted the arrest. Minority leader promised that he would produce him before the security, intelligence agencies or investigative agencies for them to look into the matter. We'll find out whether that has happened. So, for now, let's quickly start with, let me just say that we've been joined in the studio by a private legal practitioner who's a law lecturer, and he is also a member of the MPP's legal directorate. I'm talking about the man Ishaq Ibrahim, who's joined us this morning. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning to you, and good morning to your viewers.
It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And one of the reasons why I'm also very happy that you've joined us, because you also come from that part of town. You're also a northerner, a proud one as such. Yeah. You come from Northeast. And as northerners, we believe that whatever happens to one northerner happens to all of us. And so we are all worried about what's happening in that part of town. Right. Now, let me also say that on Zoom is another very good friend of mine, Adib Sani, who is a security analyst. Adib, Babamutun, Salaam alaikum, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, Mr. Muru. I trust you are well too.
I'm very well. I'm very well. Thank you very much. The last time I checked, you were globe-trotting. Are you back home, or you're still globe-trotting?
I'm back home.
You're back home?
In Accra.
Okay. Okay. So Adib will share some very interesting perspectives on this Bawku matter. He'll probably, typical of him, he won't get into who is right or wrong, but there's got to be a way out of this. There's got to be a way out of this. But this, prolonged crisis has got to stop at some point. Let me also say that I'll be joined by Hamza Suhini, who is also a member of the MDC's communications team. He'll be joining us shortly. But let me start with Adib Sani. Adib, first of all, when you heard news about this conflict, and to think that you have spoken to the media, including Metro TV, several times about your concerns about what's happening in Bawku and what you believe should be done in order to basically nip this in the bud. What was your immediate reaction when you heard about this conflict?
Okay, so what is going on in Bawku is quite distressing. It has cataclysmic security ramifications, not just for the area, but for the whole country. As a matter of fact, the conflict keeps evolving in scope, in character. and in the nature of fatalities. In the past, it was constricted to just the Bawku area and its environs, but now we've seen it spread to other parts of the region and even outside of the region in Northeast. We've also witnessed clashes even in Accra, very much related to what is going on in the area. Unfortunately, it has gone beyond just the two ethnic groups. Almost every single ethnic group in the area has suffered some form of fatalities on their kinsmen. People have been caught in the crossfire. People have deliberately been targeted, even though they belong to neither of the two sides. We've also seen a massive proliferation of small arms and light weapons in that area. Even though poverty levels, Moro is high, it is really high, I must say. They are still able to have access to very sophisticated, expensive weapons. Beyond the AK-47s, they use the M16s, the AR-15s, and other very potent weapons, which sometimes even surprises the soldiers on the ground. I spoke with a soldier some time ago who told me that sometimes he hears the sound of a gunfire, he wonders what type of weapon it is they are using. So how are they able to get these weapons? Then we have those criminal elements to taking advantage of what is going on to perpetrate all manner of criminality under the cover of the violence. And so any crime that they engage in, people are tempted to think it is related to the conflict, whereas it is not. Okay, so it's a cacophony of different issues that is coming to the civilians on the ground, who in some cases are without any form of protection. And I'm also very concerned about the consistent pattern of attacks against even security personnel. We've had soldiers killed, we've had police officers killed, immigration officers, and a whole lot of others in that area. And I think that is disturbing. But to lump it all, more, it is safe to say that this is a multidimensional issue that requires a multidimensional approach before we'll be able to make any significant, progress.
Do you think it was a good idea that the IGP himself decided to go there on a fact-finding mission?
Absolutely, because I've spoken with some police personnel on the ground. Some of them feel wrong. Some of them are angry about the attack against them. And so there was always the possibility of retribution, reprisal attacks. And so the IGP's visit to that area is very timely. It's a giant step in the right direction towards calming tensions between the police and the youth. And I'm excited about the things he said when he met the paramount chief of the area, now Abu Bakr Azolka II. He told them that, look, wherever we went wrong, we are sorry. And we want to harness that relationship with the people based on mutual trust and respect. We are willing to even help by giving jobs to young people, because a lot of the problem also has to do with the lack of jobs. People are born into the conflict. They know nothing. They know absolutely nothing but conflicts. Okay, so the IGP's visit with calmness, even though we saw pictures of some youth coming out to protest and all, it's within their right to protest. I do know there's anger, there's frustration. People feel wrong. People feel that the system can do more to protect them, okay? But it was a great visit, and I'm happy he did. But it doesn't end there. We need to support it with, other strategies, so we are able to, at least in the interim, silence the guns whilst we explore other conflict resolution strategies.
Adi, listen to what the IGP said. Two things he said, which for me I thought was quite striking, and I'd like to pick your thoughts on that. He says, I know how hardworking people from this area are, so we're pleading with you. Just let us know where we are going wrong so we can quickly correct those things and make sure that you continue to work with our people diligently. Where by mistake we have done something wrong, forgive us. We won't repeat those things again. Is that a kind of tone the IGP should be setting?
Yes, at this point, the first thing to do is to de-escalate. Even if you are right, you would say you are wrong, just to, as it were, calm the nerves of the people in that area. I'm very enthused and I'm very happy about his statements. There was so much anger against the police. I don't know why. I've had people call me with different narratives about what is going on. I wouldn't want to share if I'm not 100% sure about it, because it might amount to misinforming our viewers. But surely, one thing is for sure, that the youth were not happy with the police, and it was timely, it was right, it was necessary for the IGP to go there. And when he got there, he used the words I would have used if I were the IGP: calm nerves, get them to understand that we are still committed to bringing peace to the area and we need to work closely with the people. I've always contended that the police cannot do it alone, the military cannot do it alone. The president, when he was inaugurated, his first official trip outside of Accra was Bawku, obviously demonstrative of his unflinching commitment to ensuring that peace is restored in that area. The president has said it on countless occasions, even before he was elected, that look, Bawku is my priority. It is my utmost priority, and he has indicated that to his security chief. So the president has actually opened the way for us. And we need to support him. And one of the most important institutions, so far as that is concerned, is the Ghana Police Service. They are on the ground. They interact more with the people than even the military. That is why it is imperative that they are able to harness their relationship with the people based on mutual respect, on mutual trust, and hopefully the people are able to cooperate with them in a much more progressive manner. And one of the ways you can do that is to find ways to de-escalate the seeming tension in the area. That is what he tried to do. Whether it succeeded or not, I'm unable to tell, because I saw the level of anger. I even saw pictures of what appears to be an attack. I don't know whether it is a deliberate attack or a stray bullet hitting his vehicle. But like I indicated, Moro, it doesn't end there. We need to approach this from multi dimensions, from different strategies. You cannot just talk and expect it to work. A lot more should go into it, because the situation is so exacerbated, is so complex, and to the extent that we would have to adopt different strategies to be able to deal with it.
Is one of the strategies to deal with, does that include, for instance, in giving some kind of a special dispensation to persons who live in that area when it comes to recruiting into the police service, as the IGP has said? He said, not in those exact words, but he was almost suggesting that I'll treat you as a special group of people when it comes to recruiting, people into the police service. Is that a good strategy? Is that a kind of language that you believe can help bring some kind of a lasting solution to this Bawku conflict?
Well, I listened to the IGP. He said he was taken out of context. It doesn't mean to be pushed or stuffed, so to speak, into the police service. A lot goes into it. You would go through the process, you would go through the medicals, they would do your background checks, and if you qualify, so be it. So anybody from any part of the country is qualified, okay, to be part of the police service. That is if you satisfy the various criteria. But of course, maybe attention will be given owing to the peculiar nature of situation of the situation in that part of the country. But let me say, and let's go back to the classroom a bit, okay? In every conflict situation, there are a number of conflict theories you can use to make sense of what is going on. And one very common conflict theory that every student of conflict analysis goes through is the onion theory, also known as the pin theory, position, interest, need. So in every conflict situation, we have it appearing like an onion. We have the outer layer, which basically is what they are fighting for. We are the legitimate rulers, and the other side says we are the legitimate rulers. But when you go into the inner part of the Union, you would understand that there are interests and there are needs, okay? And when you go to the very integral, the very epicenter, you would realize it's a culmination of some socio-economic and geopolitical deficits that is creating that enabling environment for the violence to thrive. So when you handle the situation from the outer layer, you would be losing a lot because it's tantamount to getting rid of weeds on your farm by just trimming off the leaves instead of attacking the very DNA of the weeds by uprooting it. So let us uproot the problem by going deep, and you would realize that a lot of it has to do with the lack of jobs. Okay, young people sit under trees. That is when they get radicalized, they get poisoned by people seeking to recruit them to fight. People are born in the conflicts as early as 12, 13 years. They are able to disassemble a rifle. They are able to assemble it. They are able to even engage the military in a firefight. It's about education.
Okay.
What is the school enrollment rate in that area? As we speak, more. The nurses training college, they are crying. They are saying, look, we want to move. Just assign us or attach us to other nurses training colleges within the region.
Okay.
There's financial exclusion. There's no bank for crying out loud in Bawku. Access to food is a major problem. So it is creating the issue of food insecurity. Mind you, there are now two markets operated by the two ethnic groups, okay? And I understand coming by even a common egg is like finding gold. It is a big deal because there's a growing sense of food insecurity in that area. Like I indicated, criminal elements are also taking advantage. Issues of law enforcement. If someone is killed, does the police have the capability, the capacity to investigate and bring perpetrators to book? Otherwise, it creates two problems here. One, the issue of rational choice theory. Once you know there's no accountability for perpetrating a crime, as human as we are emboldened, we are incentivized into perpetrating the crime. On the other side, when people feel wronged, my kinsman, my brother, my sister, my father, my aunt was killed, nobody was investigated, then the unfortunate thing I'll be forced to do is to also pick up a gun and go and pay back. And we've seen that pattern play out on social media where people's pictures are posted and they write under it, very soon we'll target you, and truly more, they target the person. So it shows some level of a breakdown in law enforcement in the area. But like I indicated, there's a great window of opportunity. The president has shown the way. He has committed to ensuring that, look, this thing would be solved.
All right.
So we need to help. We need to support the president to achieve that.
All right. Adib, please don't leave us. Stay with us. We will come back to you, but on a separate issue is about the Reverend Tim Fojos matter. My guest already seated here. So if you're not very, very busy, you have some other engagements to attend to, please stay with us because we'll come back to you on that matter. Let me also say that Hamza Suini is here with us again. Hamza Suini is a private legal practitioner and also a member of the NDC's communications team. Good morning, Hamza. It's good to have you.
Good to be here too.
Good. You abandoned us for a while, but thank God we have found you again. We found you again. Let me start with you, Lawyer Ishak. Okay, sorry, before we do that briefly, I'm told I have a Listowell Akologu. Now, he is a tutor based in Bawku, who he'll speak to just briefly, just for a few minutes. He needs to just, Imposiga specifically, who has some education to give us as far as this Bawku unrest is concerned. Now, Listowell Akologu, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Inside Pages here on the Metro Television.
Good morning, and good morning to my brothers there and to your viewers as well.
Okay, please speak up so that we can hear you. My understanding is that you're a tutor at the Gbewa College of Education in Posega.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, wonderful. I mean, for those of us who don't live there, we found it a bit strange and a bit bizarre when we heard that one faction says we own a market, we don't want anybody else to come there, we don't want women to come there, so, and then that's sort of sparked a conflict. I mean, we thought it looked to us as though, or it came across some of us as very petty. What is it with this market, and why can't women go there to trade? What do you know?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to share ideas with it. As you said, I was laughing when you said it is bizarre. You will say so because of the fact that you are not abreast of the issues. Now, what's happening is this. In 2021, the government of the day heard that the Mampusi group wanted to perform a certain funeral. That had been kept for over 40 years. President Rawlings didn't allow them to do it. President Mills, President Kufuor, Mahama didn't allow them to do it because they knew the implication of allowing them to perform such a funeral. The MPP government came, and probably with influential people in government, they were allowed to do it. And when they were about to do it, the police placed an injunction on it. They defied the injunction and went ahead and performed the funeral. And then 2022, 2023, they went ahead and inskined a rival chief. Now there's a chief legally inskined, the Bawku Naba, recognized by the regional House of Chiefs as well as the National House of Chiefs. And then they have gone to inskin somebody because 50 years, 70 years ago, their grandparents used to be chiefs. Now this is clearly, a disrespect to the local authority and a breach of the laws. And so when that happened, you saw that from 2021 to date, it's been chaotic, killing and burning of houses, burning of cars and all that. And the whole place has, it's escalating by the day. So it got to a point that now the two factions live, Kusasis and Mampusi live together. They are quarreling. For over 3 years, they are not able to live in peace. So the Kusasi group said, well, the market is near you. When our people come, you attack them, you kill some. Sometimes you just fire and the people run away and you take their wares. So let's start our own market. Hence the establishment of a new market called Azoka Market. Now, it got to a point that the situation became so serious, no one wanted to cross, or no one was allowed to cross to that area, because if you cross, you may not return. So the traditional authority, led by the Zugran and Bawku Naba, said, fine, stay in your market and allow these people to also stay in their market. And it went on for about 1.5 years without any problem. Now, those in town, the heart of town, feel that, look, the old market is becoming depleted. They run out of grains and other valuables that they can no longer sustain without going to the new market. And those who are guarding the new market, the young people, are also saying that if you come here, we don't know what you may come with. Maybe you may come with a weapon and cause harm. Don't come to this market. Stay where you are. Let's all stay where we are. When we're able to resolve it, the conflict, there will be some rituals to unite us again. Then we can mingle. But in the meantime, stay away. This was what happened. And then the police tried to stop the youth from preventing others from crossing to the other market. And in that scuffle, they opened fire, killed somebody, and the next morning another person died. That triggered the latest incident. So if we hear that others are preventing the other side from coming to this market, this is just the background that has led to where we are today. And the incident was triggered by the killing of the young men. If the police had acted professionally, had arrested them, let's say all of them, look, we wouldn't have gotten to this point. So that is just the brief background of what happened. And the new market owners are saying, please enjoy your old market so that we won't have problem with you. Leave us also enjoy our market so that we won't also have problem. We will just be here peacefully, also stay there. So if there was no crisscrossing, and the fact that the police tried to ensure that people could move freely, and at the end, shooting some young people, the latest incident would not have occurred.
That's fine. I think that this background information has been very, very, very useful as to why there's a faction that does not want to allow the others to cross over to their market, and you've given us the historical background to that. But finally, the IGP is promising that in the next recruitment into the Ghana Police Service, some special attention will be paid to our brothers and sisters who live in Bawku, and he believes is one of the ways in which tensions can be, or one of the ways in dealing with the conflicts there. What do you think?
Well, it's a welcome news. My brother, if you will live in Bawku and you get closer to the people who are involved, engaged in combat, you'll understand that the IGP is being progressive and is being visionary. I'm saying so because these are young people, some of them well educated, but because of the situation, your house is at the borderline, a least mistake, your house is a target, you are a target, your family is a target. So let's start your education. Again, if the IGP succeeds in taking, let's say 30%, 40%, it means that the men who are available to take arms to go to battle have been reduced by 40%. In that case, you are reducing the number of people available to go into combat. So I saw it as something that is very progressive, very development-oriented, so that rather than leave them to their fate, they're idling. And as they're idling, anybody could use them. They have the weapons, they know how to fire, they can, some of them are, look, the soldiers tell us that the weapons that some of them are handling, they haven't used them before.
Okay.
So these are skillful people, or people who have gone into it, whether trained or not. Now they are specialists, I can say so. Some of them can dismantle a weapon and work on it, and you will marvel. So if the IGP says that some of you can be recruited, it's just a motivation to say, stop what you are doing, don't allow others to use you. There's hope. We can get you engaged so that you can find your livelihood back, so you can get something doing, so you can earn something. That alone can let people change their minds, okay, and rekindle towards get to becoming a police officer. So I saw it as something very progressive, something that we should support. Those who are saying no, or those who think the IGP had, they haven't critically examined it. If they have had a clinical examination of what he did or what he said, they would have known that it has a propensity to reduce the strength of the conflict at the moment.
All right. Let me thank you very much. There's a
and
number of other questions.
Briefly, as that happens, you see, because the police shot the guys and they responded with violence, it means that there's lots of trust. Now the IGP is also trying to reconnect, to re-establish that trust, so that he can work with them. So it means a lot for me. It means a lot. What he said has a lot of weight, and that he should be backed, he should be supported to carry it through.
Okay. All right, Mr. Welakologu, I want to thank you very much. I've got a number of questions. Unfortunately, time is not our best friend now, so we'll let's go for you, and then I'll come back in-house. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you so very much once again. Let me say that Hamza Sweeney is still here with us, a private legal practitioner and also a member of the NDC's communications team. There's Ishaq Ibrahim. He's also a member of the NPP's legal directorate and also a law lecturer, UPSA. I'll start with you, Ishaq. Are you one of those who thinks that, are you one of those who feels that, look, we're tired, always hearing about some of these unfortunate incidents back home where we all come from, which is the northern part of Ghana?
Yeah.
It's I don't know whether you share the same kind of sentiment.
Yes. Quite apart from being tired, I'm even ashamed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just listen to the cause of this current impasse, somebody is crisscrossing to somebody else's market. And because of that, it resulted in violence with Kusase you facing the police. I mean, just listen to it. You ask yourself, what is the essence of market? You go to market to sell your products to make profit. Does it really matter who comes to that market?
For this reason, for me, as a northerner at this stage, we are very shamed. I mean, you often hear stories. Somebody mentioned to me how he was put into shame in Belgium because the gentleman used to hold Ghana in high esteem. And later heard that a Guinea fowl has triggered a civil war in Ghana. That made him quite shameful. I mean, look at the nature of this conflict. And I've always maintained, I've had the opportunity to talk about this conflict. I don't pretend to be a complete neutral person. I'm from the Mamprisi side, so I don't pretend. But if you look at this, the nature of this conflict, you can see that it traces back, it predates Ghana independence. Nkrumah have tried to handle it. Successive military government have tried to handle it. Rawlings handle it. And up to date, we're still having this problem. If you look at it clearly, this conflict has no political solutions. It has no military solutions. So I believe the traditional solution will be the way forward. This is why I was very happy that the previous government had referred it to Otumfuo to resolve it. And I think he's, so far what I've been privy to, he's so far doing a very good job. He's meeting both parties. He has asked both parties to answer some questions. Just to, I'm not sure whether he's actually doing arbitration or mediation. I don't really know the specific rule.
It's a mediation.
Because some of the parties are questioning.
Yes.
Okay. So the traditional side is better. But I blame politicians. I'm not just blaming the NDC politicians. Both NDC and NPP, plus previous government meddling, is worsening the situation. If you hear some of the comments, and as I said, I'm not just blaming one side. Previously, I've heard Akufo-Addo making some comments which makes me very, very uncomfortable. If you look at the Constitution guarantees the chieftaincy institution. It does not create chieftaincy. It guarantees it. If you look at the Chieftaincy Act, it doesn't take government recognition for somebody to become a chief. So either president or opposition leader who said, I recognize this person as a chief, or you do not recognize, is of no consequences. So if two parties are having a misunderstanding, what we want is to resolve the disputes in such a way that there will be legitimacy on the ground. If you use military force to side with one side, or you use a political force to side with one side, you will lack legitimacy. This is the very reason. Because 1957, we thought we had resolved this issue. But because of lack of legitimacy, the way we resolve things, it's why the impasse. And when when Africa government came, they also moved it to one side. It lacks legitimacy because the other side will not recognize it. Rawlings went as far as creating an act of parliament to recognize one side. Again, we still have this problem. So the way we achieve legitimacy is the way we have referred it to the Ashanti. Once you finish, whatever the process ends, I believe both parties will need to sit down. Both the Kusasis and the Mamprisi will need to sit down. And then what we need to focus in is the greater good. Not who is even right, who is wrong. If you want to do that, you will not achieve it. And each side need to make painful sacrifices. Because it's more than 50 years. Are we better off where we are worse off? Almost all the time we are having this particular impasse. And what I would urge more is the political meddling need to stop. And we need to be clear about it. Ghanaians just need to know that those fueling it is politicians. Yeah. If you look at some of the press conferences, I saw what we have just said here. You hear some of the conferences. Certain promises were made to people. And they are waiting for those promises to be fulfilled. Right. I'm not going to miss my words. I heard the former president, the current president, also made very unfortunate statement. It was unnecessary to make that statement. What did he say? He went to the Kusasi youth group and he gave them certain promise that when I come, I'm going to give Kusasis a region. Maybe stop there. But he made direct reference to the Northeast region. That this side, which is even factually incorrect, that your side is even bigger than Northeast region, and yet they have a region. Why can't you have a region? This kind of political point is just unnecessary because this is insensitive. Why make reference to Northeast region when majority of Mamprose people are over there? You could have made reference to Northern region. You could have made reference to Savannah region. Savannah region is not that bigger than Northeast region. And that is even wrong. To look at Northeast region as a region for Mamprose is even wrong. Even though I accept Mamproses are majority, but we have Kokombes in the Northeast region, we have Bimobes, we have what they call Chakosis in the Northeast region, and we have Kusasi in the Northeast region. If you look at there is a significant number of Kusasi living in Walewale and that of Nalelgo. And we also hear promises like, if we come to power, there will be peace in Bawku. It is usually when MPP is in power is when there is no peace in Bawku. But that is not true because even the revolutionary period of Rolex, we knew there was a problem in Bawku. So it's not even linked to what they call it, the MPP. So I think both sides has not helped at all.
Okay.
The fact that we have referred to Otumfuo would have been now for government officials to cease talking about Bawku. And what we should emphasize is that when we have problems of this nature, where government should emphasize is how can we maintain the peace, protect lives and people's possessions, and urge the people to wait for the Otumfuo mediation outcome to come. And when the outcome comes, and if we are actually having, if we are actually lacking resources, I think we need people who are experts in conflict resolutions to actually handle it. Government can also do that. After Otumfuo finishes work, whatever it is like, people who are experts in peace settlement and dispute resolution could engage in both sides.
Right.
But if government is seen to be taking sides, this conflict will never end. Because what we'll do is that people will lie low, waiting for change of government. So you could see that this agitation is starting because people believe that our government is in power. We need to do this. And then when MPP comes to power, people will also perceive that MPP is on our side. So my appeal is to Kusasi youth, Mamprose youth, let's give peace a chance. Some of the reason that is coming out is so embarrassing that how do you face your colleague from the South who says that this conflict is because, even though I know there is underlying causes, but people hear this report will just think the market is the issue. But the market is not the issue, but there's underlying causes. But should somebody come into your market, trigger it. And from the report that we even have, it is not actually Mamprose going to the market. It's people who are within the city and perceive themselves to be neutral. Because the Mamprose side is even scared to go there because they might get killed. So people who perceive themselves to be neutral are people who are attending the market.
Yeah.
And for me, should it be a problem somebody goes to Bawku town to go to market or go to the Azoka market? Should it be a problem at all? And if you look deeper to it, I know why the market is a problem. Because one side is using food as a weapons of war. So basically, people who are within the town center, they are struggling to buy grains from other areas.
Right.
So wherever you can find grain, people are going to do that. And I think the government would need to look into that. Just as they insist on opening the Walewale to Bolgatanga Road, they should insist that the Bolgatanga Road to Bawku town needs to be open. And again, let me emphasize this. The strategy so far the government is deploying, I'm not happy with it. Why do I say so? You see, when John Mahama first came to power, he took initiative that we all praise him. He immediately visited Bawku and then went to the Nayiri and spoke to both parties and told them that he was going to take it seriously. I was very happy with that. And I thought that when he started this way and continued that way, we might get a good results. But for some reason, I know there were attacks around the Walewale area. Look at the attacks. The attacks occur during daytime. For me, these are criminal elements as part of society that is doing these attacks. What would be the better way to do it? The better way to do it would be to send the military personnel, and there are already police over there, to gather proper intelligence to target these individuals. But what they did was to impose a curfew in the whole area. Quite apart from the curfew, just as it happens in Garut and Pani and other areas, there was immediate police brutalities, killing an innocent person, 2 innocent people. Was there a need for a curfew to be imposed? For me, it was unnecessary because within Wale town itself, Kusasis and Mamprosis are living in peace with each other. It was only the road that wasn't properly secured. So a responsive government will probably deal with how to secure the road. And the best way to do that will be not to impose curfew in the whole town. You alienate people who even give you intelligence. And when we want to say they said the government have more intelligence than us. Trust me, Imoro, I have more intelligence than the government when it comes to Wale and the action that they have taken. And people like us, we also have common sense to assess the way you implement it. Are you doing it rightly? Okay. Now you have alienated so many people. When you talk to people, people are talking about repressive attacks in Wale against Kusasi, which wasn't there. I'm telling you, since I was young, there's a leader in Wale who everybody appreciates. And that guy is a Kusasi guy. For all and purpose, he's more or less like a Mamprese guy. Because whatever dues you need to pay to your society, he is doing it. Okay. Why do you expose people like that to danger? Okay. So I believe the way we react, government would need to react responsibly. Okay. And this is why the Bawku area is having problems. You can see you are a reporter. If people are demonstrating, how do you react immediately? By firing to kill the Kusasi guy that they were saying. Okay. So maybe the way we train our police to react to situation, we need to have a second look at it. Okay. When you react in an inappropriate manner, would that really help, or it will worsen the situation? Okay. So yes. All right. Hamza, what do you make of what's happening in Bawku?
Good morning.
What do you think is the way forward?
Good morning to our cherished viewers out there, and of course to my colleague in the studio. When it comes to the Bawku situation, I'm a bit uncomfortable when it comes to running commentary on it. First of all, because I'm a Northerner. Secondly, because I am politically exposed. And that was a kind of approach I expected my brother to have demonstrated. All the allegations leveled against His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and that of his government in terms of his approach to the crisis are allegations I can confidently and beautifully respond to. But you see, if I do so, I would be fueling the unfortunate perception of politicization that makes it difficult for us to approach the issues. So the fact that I will not be singling out the allegations and responding to them does not mean that I do not have a response to it. It's only a manifestation and a demonstration of sensitivity to the issues at hand. And I'm also doing so because I appreciate the difficult situation the current government finds itself as far as its attempt to resolving the conflict is concerned. So, my brother, some of you are leaders. I have listened to you raise issues of politicization, how it has not helped. I least expected you to still proceed on that very tangent that at the end of the day risks obfuscating the fundamental issues that really bother the good people of Bawku. Today, many of our younger brothers and sisters, our senior brothers, our elders, are living in a state of anarchy because we have all failed them. Not just the political class. There are many of us who are educated and exposed moral, who have taken active roles in this conflict. Right. Many of us are lawyers. Many are doctors. Many are doing well in the business field, and even the proceeds from the professions, how successful we are, is injected back home, not to help in the development of that community, but to contribute our quota to more or less cultural obligations we hold on to. Because we convince ourselves that it's a cultural responsibility to support your side of the conflict. And so it's not a government failure alone. It is not political failure alone. Largely, it is a collective one. We all play roles. And it is time we started looking at the kind of roles we have played. For me, when you say that it does not need a political solution, I begin to question whether indeed we understand what we mean by political solutions. The entirety of this country is a political machine set up based on political principles. So even if the state wants to provide a solution, at the end of the day, it will be a political solution. We all saw what happened in Dagon. Forced the decisions, those recommendations with state power.
Right.
It was not enforced by traditional authority. It was enforced by state power. Moreover, what this seeks to suggest is that with the necessary political engineering and the power of the state, we can find an everlasting solution to the Bawku crisis. So I resist the conclusion that we do not need a political solution or a state solution to it. I do not understand this obsession of trying to give politics a bad name just because of convenient analysis. You know that one of the responsibilities of the state is to find political solutions to our challenges. It is not bad. It is only when you use politics to achieve and toward goals that is when it becomes bad. So we run a political machinery as an entity called Ghana. We must not demonize it because of our limited appreciation of politics and its operations. Now, Moro, even what is happening in Bawku is political. It's traditional politics.
Yeah.
It's traditional politics.
Absolutely.
At play. So government must be interested in finding an everlasting solution. But you see, there's this oversimplification of how to end the problem, getting the youth employed. Yes. It may contribute, but it is not the only way to solve the problem. Now, as I have demonstrated, we have people who are successful, and he agrees with me. Celebrated lawyers, doctors, businessmen who are doing well from that area, who have taken entrenched positions and in most cases are funding these groups. So the problem really is not just unemployment by the youth, even youth. In fact, I know that some of them are so attached to their cultural leanings that even an offer of a job to take them out, they may not accept because they are leaders in their own right within those places. In any case, they will even tell you to find a way of bringing the jobs to those communities because they are not willing to move. So, in as much as employment could be one of the ways of dealing with it, we should not create the impression as though it is the only way to de-escalate the situation.
Okay.
And for me, in all honesty, I think that the decision of the IGP to visit the area was needless.
Why?
Moro, His Excellency President Mahama, he has had the opportunity of visiting there as president, like my brother indicated.
Yes.
He held discussions with the traditional authorities from both sides. Engagements were made. A decision was taken to resolve it. You see, Bawku should not be an opportunity for showmanship by those who are given power to exhibit. To the extent that His Excellency the President visited there, I do not honestly think that the current IGP visited there because he's really much that concerned about the situation. He was simply looking for a hotspot that could possibly announce his presence in the scene that he has started working.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Okay.
And Bawku should not be handled that way. It needs strategy. So before you visited Bawku, I would have been expectant the IGP at least unveil a policy direction, a security strategy as how to contain it.
Yeah.
Let that situation kickstart. Give it a month or two.
Yeah.
For us to all know and appreciate what the Ghana Police Service is doing there.
Right.
Before you go in there. What was he going there to do? at this critical point.
Right.
Except to further heighten the situation with his presence.
Right.
Because there's suspicion out there about the role of our security agencies. Your job is to stay in Accra, liaise with the national security agencies, and see how we can de-escalate the situation without sending so many people out there who risk making it, what's the name? How we can contain the situation without unnecessarily sending people there.
But if the people, but Hamza, if the people say they have a problem with the way the police have handled the altercation between the chaps who were at loggerheads with each other because of the woman who had crossed to the market, remember that in the ensuing conflict between the two factions, when the police attempted to intervene, they felt the police had taken sides.
Absolutely.
And so they hurt the police. So maybe the IGP felt that if the people have a problem with the posture of my police people, let me go and find out exactly what problem they have with my policemen on the ground. And that's why he had to apologize.
That's why I'm saying that.
That's why he had to apologize to them.
I'm saying that it was a strategic decision. That it was a failure. It was a strategic
You think tactically was a wrong move?
Not tactical. You see, the suspicion is that you are taking sides, and you are the head of the security that has been I was accused of taking sides.
Yes.
I would have expected the IGP to at least identify leading members of both sides. And even if we had to fly them to Accra,
engage them.
To Accra, engage them, explain your position to them, the difficulty of the Ghana Police Service, and take opportunity of that to sensitize them about the need for them to stop it.
Okay.
Then they go back to their constituencies or to their community. They become your contact points.
Right.
As far as those sectors are concerned.
Right. For intelligence gathering.
For intelligence gathering. Then you begin to manage them because now you have identified the leadership.
Right.
But your presence there escalated the situation.
Okay.
It didn't de-escalate it. You see my difficulty?
I understand.
And so that is why I have a little problem with the decision of the IGP to go there.
Okay.
And to make news out of it.
All
I
right.
feel that it was not intended to help the situation. And it's something he needs to look at.
All right.
Well, can I just respond?
Great.
But you see,
No, let's do
finally-
this. I want us to move to Reverend Itinfojo.
But let me respond.
Yes,
to clarify
Muru.
something.
No,
Finally.
otherwise you would have to come in.
Finally.
The back and forth won't help
Finally.
us. We have only 30 minutes
Finally,
to go.
Muru, you see that I have resisted the temptation to go political.
Yes, you said that in
With
the
the
beginning.
And have decided not to communicate in such a way to demonstrate that I have preference for any of the sides.
Right.
As a party in government, we appreciate that whatever the issues are, the responsibility is now on us as a government to find an everlasting solution
to the problem,
to the Bawku conflict. Unfortunately, we cannot do that in a matter of a month or 2 months. But what I can assure the good people of this country, and to a very large extent the people of Bawku, is that this government will do everything within its power to bring sanity and peace to that environment.
Okay.
And not just end there.
Okay.
Find a way of creating job opportunities even internally.
Right.
Because you see, we may see it as a Bawku problem, but in truth, it is a national problem.
Yeah.
Because if we fail to manage it, you see how it has suddenly started moving to the northeast region.
True.
It can extend to Dagbon, to the savannah regions, and so on.
Right.
Tomorrow, I
the
insist
danger.
1 minute to just clarify something.
Okay.
Yes. I think Hamza misunderstood me when I say it has no political solution.
Okay.
You see, I was just advising that as Ghanaians, let's stop the madness.
Okay.
Madness is consistently doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Right.
As I've already told you, since 1957, we have always used those political solutions. They are not working. And the political solution we usually adopt is to take sides. It's not working.
So
what I'm saying is that now we have
the partisan solution,
yes,
not rather than
now
political.
we have referred to the traditional leaders.
Yes.
And I believe that side would work.
Yes.
But if you insist on the politician taking care of it, look, politicians deal with this.
No, I think
thing
that Ishak, I think this is what the challenge is. I think it's a matter of semantics.
Yes.
When you talk about political solution, Hamza is absolutely right. He said you can't solve this problem without.
No, but what I'm
just a second.
The political solution.
No, hold on a second. I beg you. Hold on a second. I think what he was trying to say is that if you say let's put aside the political solution or the politics out of the solution.
The old ways of dealing with it.
No, hold on.
Okay.
What I think you were perhaps trying to say is the partisan way of doing things.
Yes,
because
the
president's decision to even call on the Otunfo, right, to revisit the matter as quickly as possible and to continue with the mediation process till we find this last. It is a political decision.
I've explained what I meant by political solution.
So you mean partisanship?
By just saying that since independence, the political solution had always been to take one side.
Yes, so that's the partisanship I'm talking about. So if you say partisanship, I don't think you would have a problem with that.
Whichever way you put it, the traditional approach is where traditional leaders
deal with it. Yes, that's fine.
And as I said, I'm privy to certain information.
That's fine.
With certain specific
that's
questions.
fine. That's fine.
Okay, another side, I disagree with him about the visit of the IGP. I think the IGP visit to the hot zone was necessary.
Okay.
Where I don't like is why he went to one side and gave a promise.
Okay.
And refused to even engage the other side.
Okay.
And if you go, this is one area problem we have.
Okay.
If you go to engage in one side and you don't go to the other side at all,
it doesn't help.
It doesn't help.
Okay. All right. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we would try to get into the minds of the Reverend Minister, who's also a politician, Reverend John Ntim Fojo, and to ask whether indeed the claims he has made was just a hoax or there was really something in there that is worth the attention of our security, investigative authorities to get into and find out exactly what the issue is. Whether indeed the aircrafts that landed at Kotoka International Airport were carrying anything. And if they were carrying if they were carrying something, what is it? Are they contraband goods or they are legally accepted ones? So we'll take a short break, we'll be right back.
Fire pomudi ni agobi Ghana funi aje if you say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
me dey go me jollof mu me misti wa hodoma emanate dance
Stanley the barbecue dey go on
sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural said the happen
Adofo mamu huge mistake sankofa natural spices the
FDIG ejodi nkratu yatu.
You're the answer to my prayers. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know. Tonight.
On the 19th of April, the Core Business Forum is happening live, and that is why GEA is repping. Are you a business about starting, or you are thinking of growing a business, you are thinking of beginning something? GEA is passionate about transforming and empowering businesses to thrive.
The forum offers an opportunity for captains of industries to have interaction with CEOs of banks, for us to understand and listen, to get a sense of what their business needs are. I will be coming there as the MD of the largest bank with a team of professionals who will be on hand to listen to you and give you innovative solutions to support your businesses.
At National Investment Bank PLC, our presence at this year's fair is not only to talk, but to invest in indigenous people and real growth.
This is not just another conference. This is a launchpad for transformation. We are hoping to see you at the Core Business Forum to understand your business and know how we can help you through our PFIs.
Every great relationship starts with a conversation. The Core Business Forum
is an avenue where we can have those conversations meaningfully. Join us. Let's have an insightful discussion. CBG, we stand with you.
Whether you are a startup or a growing business, we offer the tools, the funding, and the expertise that you need to be able to thrive. So be sure to visit our booth. Let us unlock the future together. Let us meet at the Cool Business Forum.
We are looking forward to support indigenous Ghanaian businesses to grow. You must be at the Cool Business Forum.
Republic Bank is excited to be part of this second edition of Coal Business Forum.
This is the biggest opportunity for you to meet industry players, get your financing solution, connect with partners, and work with Agricultural Development Bank.
At GEPA, we help you tap into international markets. Let's showcase Ghana to the world. Let's make global trade work for you. See you there.
We are here to make sure that industries come to stay, that will create employment for the vast majority of Ghanaians.
You're running your business, you would want to scale up, you would want to increase productivity. This is the opportunity. The only place to have access to this information and for us to engage more is for us to meet at the Cool Business Forum on the 19th of April 2025. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is going to be there. Other business moguls and stakeholders within the business enclave are going to be there. This is the platform for us to interact and see how best we come together to grow, shape your business, and of course increase productivity for Mother Ghana. See you there at the Cool Business Forum.
So reckless. These are destructive tendencies. And such people shouldn't have been allowed to sleep in their homes when they make such reckless statements. Should have been picked up long since. He didn't have waited for the honorable minister to even ask that this gentleman should be arrested. Look, that's their campaign strategy. They are yet to see more. We are even warming up. We haven't started anything yet. I'm telling you, Ghanaians should brace themselves. I'm saying that we are warming up. To clean up the state, we have to, if you have to reset a country, characters like that, you have to page them. They are the people that they are the reason why we are where we are. Not authoritarian. You have enough information. That borders on national security. This one borders on national security. The integrity of the state. Our government is less than 3 months. If we are not getting to 100 days. Today is 92 days, right? 93. And somebody is already saying that cocaine, the person just meant to destroy the image of the country. That is their modus operandi. They are not satisfied that Ghanaians have given them this in 38.2%. They are not happy. So they want to destroy the country. Look, they want to run away from. Have you seen the recent expose of Japa? Comrade Japa? These are the characters we are dealing with. They have these containers and everything. They are in their bedrooms. Yeah. The containers and other thing. MPP leadership. I'm saying this because you know them. We don't know the people governing the country. Wasn't the MPP who governed the country for 8 years? Under their regime, excavators were flying. Now containers are flew. We are seeing a lot of containers to carrying money and this thing, gold. Some have put it in their bedroom. Some have put it in freezes. Japa is running after them. And you say we are arresting people. I don't know criminals. There's a difference between saying that you have intelligence and you have information. If you say you have intelligence, you know what you are talking about. Go and read about intelligence. These people, that's why I say they are just reckless people.
All right, welcome back. This is Inside Pages on Metro Television. So we're now delving into this issue about the allegations that was made by the Member of Parliament for Asin South, as a ranking member of the Interior and Defense Committee of Parliament. He made a very wild allegation that some aircraft, 2 of them, had landed in this country, and he suspects that these aircraft are linked to money laundering and drug trafficking. This is the NIB. Just on must have been on Wednesday or so, paid him a visit to his house, and we're told to arrest him and to get him to contribute to the investigations that the state investigative institutions intend to conduct into the allegations that he has made. Of course, this was pursuant to the President, John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency's request to them to get to the bottom of that matter. And so the state investigative agencies are doing their job. But it had to take the minority leader, Alexander Afenyomaking, to halt the arrest, which the NIB intended to cause, and actually promised that in due course he would produce the Member of Parliament himself to the NIB for questioning. We don't know whether that has happened. But we've also heard the minority complain about intimidation and attempting to gag persons who intend to whistleblow, and that Reverend Tim Fojo is only a whistleblower, and he must be treated as such. Hamza, what do you make of this? Unfortunately, we have just about 17 minutes. In fact, 17 minutes left for us to go. Hamza, what do you make of that? I mean, in summary, where do you think we should go from here?
You see, clearly, I'm trying to prevent myself from using words that you will not be comfortable with. But that is the situation we find ourselves.
Right.
Our actions are guided by the 1992 Constitution.
Right.
To a very large extent, as the fundamental law of the land. And if you are elected as a member of Parliament, I have always often maintained that apart from the President and the ministers of states and our ambassadors, our members of Parliament must also carry themselves as diplomats of this country, because their words carry weight. It is not for nothing that Parliament proceeded to enact what we call the standing orders of Parliament, to guide the conduct of members of Parliament, to ensure that it is in conformity with our laws. Moreover, unfortunately, it appears the likes of Ntim Fojo do not have the patience and time to even look at the standing orders of the very institution in which they serve. And for me, that is where my disappointment comes from. Because they seem to be running, like them and their MPP communicators, they seem to be running solely on the basis of freedom of speech and expression and the privileges guaranteed a member of Parliament. But reading through the standing orders of Parliament, you would realize that the very same standing orders that espouses privileges to parliamentarians also puts a restriction on those privileges and indicates the consequences of a breach of parliamentary privilege. It is in the standing orders of Parliament. And you see, because they want to control the conduct of MPs, that is why even when you file a question in Parliament and you use intemperate language, the Speaker overrules it, and in some cases gets you to apologize. That is why you have the Privileges Committee of Parliament. In cases where your conduct is deemed to be inappropriate, you are referred to it. Now, this gentleman is a member of Parliament and also the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee. So what it means is that where the Constitution gives you privileges, it gives you responsibilities. The responsibility entrusted on him is captured under the standing orders. That requires, I think, Order 99, that requires him as a ranking member, if you have any information that has serious implications on the international reputation of this country, as ranking member of the Defense and Interior Committee, you first of all report it to that committee. And if you do not want to report it to that committee, the same standing orders empowers you to bring it in the form of a petition so that the Petitions Committee of Parliament can address it. Clearly, the gentleman failed to take advantage of all these avenues and proceeded to organize a press conference on the basis, in his words, of intelligence that he got, reliable intelligence, to throw all kinds of accusations against not President Mahama, not the National Democratic Congress, but the entirety of the Republic of Ghana, our international image. So people should not see his conduct as an attack on the NDC and the new government. It was clearly an attack on the integrity and image of the Republic of Ghana. And our laws are clear that any conduct that constitutes criminal in nature, you would not be protected under the privileges of Parliament. And so even if you look at Order 32 of the Standing Orders of Parliament, it states that clearly. That look, you can activate the internal processes of Parliament to deal with excesses, but where it is criminal in nature, the state is also empowered to go ahead with those state criminal prosecutions. It is captured in the Standing Orders of Parliament. So what the NIB did was clearly in line with the Constitution of Ghana, our criminal code, the powers of the NIB Act, and to a very large extent, the standing orders of the very institution the gentleman is a member of. Parliament. Standing Orders of Parliament. Clearly in sync with the law. You see, His Excellency President Mahama was being even accommodative when he first made the allegation by saying that, look, let me give the guy a chance to be heard, and directed collaborative efforts between you and the security agencies. You failed to honor those collaborative efforts. And if you fail, under the NIB Act, they are empowered, and under your own standing orders, they are empowered to arrest you, especially when Parliament was not in session. You were in your house. And it is not true. The information I have is not to suggest that they went there with the initial directive to arrest him. Because you see, he has become a subject of investigation as far as this whole issue is concerned, because you have refused. And you claim you have intel, and the intel is reliable, and you are not making that intel public to the Ghanaian people. So what, and you are not giving it to the security agencies.
So what do you know was the reason why?
There was the need for surveillance of his home, based on the information I got.
Right.
And also to extend an invitation for him. But because they did not know the kind of things that was available to him, because he said he had reliable intel, and failed to make that intel available, there was a need for the place to be for surveillance to be carried out.
Right.
And if need be, in case he refuses an invitation, he's picked up. You think that at the time the national security operatives went there, they couldn't have broken and have access to his house and pick him out? The law empowers them to have done that. Nobody could have prevented them entry to his house. But why do you think that they had to wait for so long? To the extent that even Afenyo Makin and Co were given time to now get to the house to engage in that political showmanship they did. You think that when the national security was entering the house of the former Bank of Ghana governor, how long did it take? So the original directive was simply not to arrest the gentleman. Let us get it straight. If that was the original directive, he would have been picked up even before any leading member of the NPP got there. You know that more. So, but you see, I have always maintained that this country, we have gotten to a stage where we need to look at the kind of people we clear to be parliamentarians. I know that gentleman. When I was Nook's president, they were the young guys we used to send around. In all honesty, Moro. And I can tell you that at the time I was Nook's president, this gentleman didn't have the intellectual acumen to even be considered a member of a committee that I set up as Nook's president. Because I know him for you very well. He's a young guy. But because of the relaxed nature of our politics, the political parties engage in clearing all kinds of people with deep pockets who suddenly have amassed wealth under questionable circumstances, especially in a day and age where people use the name of God to extort people. They get their access to money and they come and they are clear to contest and enter our house. That is why such a gentleman would not be sensitive to the international reputation of our country. That is why his statements would not be weighed before they are made. And on the basis of that, I'm even calling for a reshuffle of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, because his conduct clearly shows that he doesn't have the sense of judgment and responsibility to be a ranking member of that committee. It is a serious committee that has serious implications on our international reputation. Like I indicated, the standing orders of the House.
He said he was being a
Questions
whistleblower.
asked about the international reputation of the country.
He said he was being a whistleblower.
But that is why I'm saying that it's irresponsible. Being a ranking member of such a committee, there are internal laid-down processes, and I made references to the standing orders of
You
the
did,
House.
to be fair to you.
Tomorrow. So, but you see, these are the characters that we have been given by the New Patriotic Party to deal with.
Okay.
They have become saboteurs of the state,
Okay.
not just in government, but even in opposition. And
Right.
that conduct must be condemned.
Yeah.
We cannot allow that to continue. This country is a serious country.
Yeah.
By that statement alone, he rigs a diplomatic war between Ghana and Spain, Ghana and the United States of America, and Ghana and the EU. By that irresponsible press statement based on suspicion. And that is why it was important for him to go through the internal processes laid down by Parliament and our laws.
Okay.
And you want us to allow that to continue
Right.
so that people will take a cue and think that it is okay to come up with all kinds of unprintable things against the state of Ghana.
All right,
This is not politics against the NDC.
Ishak.
And it's not politics against John Dramani Mahama.
It's a politics
It is
against
an irresponsible
state.
conduct
Yes.
that ought to be punished.
Okay.
And our laws, especially our criminal code under section 208, you know that publication of false information is a crime.
All right.
There is the need for the guy to be made to face the full rigors of the law.
All right.
Such irresponsibility must not be entertained.
Ishak, what do you also think?
I'm very surprised about the emotions being shown by my
No,
colleague.
about the
Let me
people of
explain.
Ghana, and I'm a Ghanaian.
I-
traveled out of this country.
Hamza is a passionate speaker, so he's always he's passionate about his country.
I
So.
disagree in some of the things he said about the law.
Okay.
I'm also very disappointed about the attack on the reputation of that Reverend officer.
Johnny Tim for Joe.
I'm sure that when he watched this particular place, he will have the right to respond. But I think you've gone a bit too far. Having said that, when I first heard it, I was very concerned about the reputation of this country. And when he said he has evidence, I was praying the evidence should come, because if Ghana achieves such a reputation, we'll have problems. Now, having heard from him and subsequently the response of the government and the inconsistent information they were giving us, I came to the conclusion that the Reverend have raised a burden and then raised a duty on the government, at least to fully investigate it. Perhaps an inquiry is in order. He has raised it because of the inconsistency on the part of government in the information they have given us. Some of the information doesn't make sense. So there's a duty on government. And as I said, the gentleman is protected under the Whistleblowers Act, and he's also a member of Parliament. Aside being a member of Parliament, the Constitution, as the writer said, under Chapter 5, has given individual fundamental rights. Among them is freedom of speech.
Okay.
And in a democracy, freedom of speech is very, very important. So I'm surprised at the government intolerance towards the guy. And there's a reason why freedom of speech is important in democracy. Among them, if you look at some of the articles written by John Stuart Mill, argument from the truth. So he has raised something, the government has raised inconsistency. We need to arrive at the truth of it. Argument from democracy. Democracy is a marketplace of ideas. We want to know what other people think. And if you are responsible to people who have other certain ideas, it's intolerance. It is very, very unfortunate. So you need to be tolerant. And so far, the 3-4 months you have been in government, you have shown complete lack of intolerance. And now it looks like the police have no operational independence. Because last week, I watched Newsfire. I saw Sami Gyamfi threatening him that he will be picked up, he will be arrested. I have seen various MPP members saying that. And now they have gone to his house to arrest such a gentleman. What do you want us to say? And as you said, the Constitution have given certain, if you look at Article 117 and 118, I believe it has provided privileges for members of Parliament. Even though the Constitution itself says there are immunities, that you cannot just pick up a member of Parliament that way. The Speaker said he has reached some agreement with the security services that when you are dealing with members of parliament, invite them, send me a letter. I will direct you what you need to do. And I was very privileged last week to be one of the lawyers who went to represent that member of parliament, whom the Speaker
you mean Mustafa Yusuf?
Yes. And when you go there, you see how intolerant these people are. I was privileged to that meeting. There was no interrogation that day.
There wasn't?
No, there was no interrogation. Why?
I mean the Yagaba Kubori.
Yes, we arrived first, waited for them to arrive. And when they arrived, they said they were coming to invite him to their place. No, that wasn't. Read the letter. The Speaker's letter said the interrogation will be conducted in that place that was reserved for that purpose. And they said the environment over there wasn't conducive for them to conduct their interview. What sort of environment do you need to ask somebody a question? And when we ask, they'll tell you, oh, security issues. What environment? If you are going to interrogate somebody, the person is here before you, and you said that environment is not conducive. When we press further, they say somebody have made allegations. They want to put the two of them together and see how they react. There's no civilized nation that does that. Ghana shouldn't be doing it. And if a member of parliament's rights are not even respected, how much must I be more myself and you? So these people are just intolerant. So you can't say that they can just go and pick him up. The Speaker have interpreted Article 117 and 118 that when it comes to a member of parliament, and mind you, you were talking about standing orders. How can standing orders override a constitutional provision, Hamza? I don't know how you interpret it. The standing orders, the Article 117 and 118, they are directly from the Constitution.
About what?
About the privileges given to members of parliament.
Yes.
They are
and it's limited.
given to them.
Are they not
And
limited? Are they not limited privileges?
The Speaker of Parliament have arrived at arrangement between Parliament and then the security agencies that this is the procedure henceforth. If you want to deal with a member of Parliament, write to the Speaker to make them available. And I've already told you two good examples. So why is there a need to go to that reverend's house? That would be a violation of the Constitution.
It is not.
It also
the
shows
Constitution
you are
has not said.
intolerant.
117 has not said. You don't
Your party is actually.
It has not said that you cannot arrest a member of parliament at home. It has
I
not
have
said
just
that.
told you that
It only
the
puts
Speaker
a
has
restriction.
interpreted
So
that we have problems in implementing it.
on, you are a lawyer. You know
And the
that,
way to
that
resolve
you know
it,
that
I
the
have just
privilege
told you.
only extends to them when they are going to parliament or they are engaged in parliamentary activity.
And I've
You know
explained
that.
to you that in the past.
Parliament is not in session.
I understand that.
So
I've
how are
told
you bringing one
committees continue to attend. That one is not true. I have just told you that the Speaker said because of the inconsistency and discrepancy in implementing this provision, I have reached an agreement with the security agency. This is how we are going to implement it. Write to me. Why couldn't they write to the Speaker?
When the very speaker, on the basis of when the very speaker,
yes,
on the basis of his interpretation and engagement and understanding with the Chief Justice,
yes,
interpreted vacancy in relation to one of the parliamentarians, what did you do? You went to the Supreme Court and said that the same speaker didn't have that power. Have you forgotten?
So maybe you need to go.
So how can the argument?
If you disagree,
All right. I'm telling you that what you are saying is not even the case. There's no violation of the agreement we reached with the.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately,
there's no violation of that
our time is up. Let me thank you very much for joining us today. Ishaq Ibrahim is a member of the MPP's Legal Directorate and also a law lecturer at UPSA. And also Hamza Suwini is a private legal practitioner and also a member of the NDC's communications team. My name is Aldo Moro. Thanks for watching Inside Pages. See you next week. Bye-bye.
More than 80% of global trade is carried by sea. Most of the products we consume daily travel through ports, making them a key link